Hello lovely people out there, how are you all doing? This is your Stargate Nikita and welcome back to Niki's Stargate YouTube channel. And I'm back after a much needed 1 week of break, and I'm feeling supercharged now. And in today's video we are going to talk about the major transit that is taking place of the planet Jupiter in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha. That is going to take place from 22nd of May 2021 till 20th of July 2021, and after that again Jupiter will enter the nakshatra of Dhanishta while being retrograde, and it will enter the sign of Capricorn as well while being retrograde, and Jupiter will again go into the nakshatra of Shatabhisha next year, that is 2nd of January 2022, and it will be there till 2nd of March 2022. So this is going to be a quite impactful time when Jupiter, the benevolent planet, the planet of optimism, hope, ambition and positivity, is going to transit, and it's going to get emerged into the realms of Rahu, that is the nakshatra of Shatabhisha. The nakshatra of Shatabhisha falls completely into the sign of Aquarius. It is the center of the sign of Aquarius. That is the 6 degree 40 minutes of the sign of Aquarius till 20 degrees of Aquarius. So in this video, let's try to understand how this transit is going to impact each one of us, and how the energies of Jupiter and Rahu, when get combined, are going to give us the results as per our horoscope and our ascendant and moon sign. Also, a big shout out to my dear friend Mario Ramauta sir for designing this wonderful introduction video for Niki's Stargate, and a big shout out to my cousin Siley, who has designed the logo for Niki's Stargate, and these two are extremely well in the work that they do. These two are professional website designer, logo designer, graphic designer. So if you want to avail professional services from them regarding your brand, your services, your business, then I will link the mail ID to contact them for the professional services in the description section. And as always, if you are new to the channel, then please consider subscribing, because in this week and in upcoming times, we are going to do wonderful videos, highly informative videos. So make sure that you have subscribed to the channel, you have hit the bell icon, so that you will not miss out on any video updates by Niki's Stargate. And if you want to take a professional consultation from me regarding your horoscope, regarding your life, then you can send an email to nikistargate@gmail.com, and the mail ID is also given in the description section. If you want to understand how the Jupiter's transit in the sign of Aquarius is going to impact you, then the video will also be linked in the description section. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first of all, what is the sign of Aquarius? The sign of Aquarius is all things about technology, inventions, humanity, innovation, gains, desires, setting up high ambitions which are somewhat outcast. It's like other people might tell you in your face that it's impossible, but it's the sign of Aquarius and planets here that makes the impossible possible. And that is why when the planet Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system, is going to transit through the realms of Aquarius, to the heart of Aquarius, it is going to impact us in a major way. So what is the nakshatra of Shatabhisha is all about? The nakshatra of Shatabhisha is the center of the sign of Aquarius. That is why it represents all things about humanity, innovation, inventions, scientific technology, research, occult, mysticism, healing qualities. The nakshatra of Shatabhisha is represented by the symbol of a circle, an empty circle, and it is ruled by the planet Rahu, which is as we all know, it's an outcast shadow planet. It represents our highest ambitions, outcast desires, out of the box thinking, innovations. And that is why I think the sign of Aquarius is the only sign in our zodiac belt which includes so many mixed type of energies, because mainly it is ruled by planet Saturn, which is somewhat traditional. Then it is co-ruled by the north node of the moon Rahu, which is all about foreign things and innovation. Also, it is co-ruled by the outer planet Uranus, which is named as a revolutionary planet. And that is why I think sign of Aquarius is the only sign where the perfect balance of tradition and technology, modern day technology, can be observed. And that is why when the planet of hope, optimism, wisdom and positivity, planet Jupiter is going to enter this realm of mixed energies, that is this nakshatra of Shatabhisha, we can expect that the healing is right around the corner in certain areas of our life as well as personality. So with Jupiter coming into the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, if I have to sum this up, this transit in one phrase, then it is going to be like embrace the healing. This is going to be a time when we will be asked to heal from our unserving, unhealthy patterns from the past. Any traumas if you are holding regarding the significance of either the planets positioned in the sign of Aquarius, in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha especially, or if you are running through the dasha of Rahu, Jupiter, Saturn, then this is going to be a powerful time period for you where the healing is accessible for you right now. If you closely take a look at the symbolism of this nakshatra, then it is represented by an empty whole circle. So a circle which has got no openings, right? It can be considered as a boundary, or it can be considered as a loop of energy that one is constantly acting through, one is constantly tapping into. That is what is the nakshatra of Shatabhisha is all about. Nakshatra of Shatabhisha works more on the mental level, and that is why it is a great time period when you can heal from the unserving, old, traumatic patterns in your life, in your personality. And the energy that is represented by that symbol of a circle of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha is now getting infused with the positive, recharging, rejuvenating, healing energies of Jupiter. So that is why this is going to be a great time to heal anything that is unserving in your life, in your personality. And what areas of life will get healed, will receive this healing is you have to look at the house where the sign of Aquarius falls in your chart, and if you have any planets placed there, then as well as the houses ruled by Jupiter in your chart, the healing will come through the house, the significance of house, the area of life where the sign of Aquarius falls in your chart, and it will come via the rulership of the houses of Jupiter. So the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, that is planet Rahu, is currently transiting through a very favorable sign of Taurus, and it is in Kendra to this transiting Jupiter, and that is why it is going to help us in establishing a strong solid foundation. It is going to help us in finally attaining that breakthrough from the unserving patterns in life. So that is why this transit is so important, and Rahu is acting like an anchor to this Jupiter. So one must look at the significance of where Rahu is placed in their horoscope in transit, and that area of life they have to use as an anchor to channelize, to take it as a helping factor in healing from the area of life where Jupiter is currently transiting, as well as the houses ruled by Jupiter in your horoscope. So this is going to be a great time for all the people in working in humanitarian field, research, scientists, inventors, the doctors, healers, medical practitioners, all type of people who serve the society are going to get rewarded at a greater scale during this time. And it's not necessary that everyone has to be a healer to make the best of this transit of Jupiter. No. Then how we should decipher the results of this transit, Niki? Then remember that everyone is a creator of their own life. Everyone is a co-creator. Everyone is in some way or the other a scientist, an inventor, a creator, also a destructor of their own life. So during this time you have to decide what are those patterns that you want to see the destruction taking place in your life, and where you need to bring in the healing in your personality and life during this time, because Jupiter is making you accessible to that. And remember, there is no end to the energy. Energy is infinite. There is only a possibility of rejuvenating the energy. And that is what this transit of Jupiter in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha is going to do. So it's a great time for all the people into the research fields, those who are doing PhD, masters, some kind of research, occult practitioners, healers. And we all have to uplift the humanity during this time. We all have to do our tidbit, do our part in order to uplift the humanity, the quality of human life during this time. Because remember, the Dev Guru is now coming into the realm of healing. And remember that Shatabhisha Nakshatra also carries a lot of eccentric, whimsical energy because it's ruled by so many malefic planets, the sign of Aquarius, and then the effect of Rahu and the symbolism of that whole circle, which has got no opening. So the energy is constantly getting repeated. The events are constantly getting repeated in your life. The energy is into repetition. Then this is the perfect time to break that pattern, to finally break that circle and let the energy, let the healing energy, hopeful energy, recharged energy of Jupiter to enter that circle in the significance of a life where the sign of Aquarius falls in your chart. So this is all about the general significance of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha and transit of Jupiter in it. And now we will move on to understanding how this transit is going to impact each one of us depending upon your ascendant and moon sign. For the Aries ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 9th and the 12th house of your horoscope, and now it will transit through the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, which falls in the sign of Aquarius, that is the 11th house of your horoscope. Whereas Rahu, the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, is currently transiting through the 2nd house of Taurus in your horoscope. So certainly this is the time period of healing any unnecessary, unwanted patterns, limiting beliefs or restrictions that you have put around yourself or around your finances and money. This is going to be a time period when the energy that is present in a loop in the form of a circle that is represented by the nakshatra of Shatabhisha is meeting with the benevolence and positive energy of Jupiter. So make sure that you fill up that circle of Shatabhisha Nakshatra around your money, finances, your goals, dreams, ambitions, desires with a lot of positivity, optimism and new hope. So this is a great time because Rahu is also transiting through the 2nd house, which is all about money, finances, values. So Aries people are gonna work vigorously on improving their finances, improving their energy around their dreams, ambitions, wishes. They are going to introspect what is causing them delays and restrictions in achieving their dreams and goals and desires, fulfilling their dreams. So for the Aries natives, this is going to be a great time to do the inner work, heal your past traumas, wounds around money, heal from those limiting self-beliefs that are restricting you from reaching to that next positive level of your life, and make the best of this. Overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha or in the sign of Aquarius, as well as Taurus and the current dasha that one is undergoing. For the Taurus ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 8th and the 11th house of your horoscope, and Jupiter will now transit through the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, which resides in the sign of Aquarius, that is the 10th house of your horoscope. Whereas Rahu, the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, is transiting through the ascendant or your moon sign, that is the sign of Taurus, that is the 1st house of your horoscope. This is going to be a certain time period for Taurus natives to finally make peace with the changes that have taken place in your career or in the work profile that you are currently in, as well as it's time for Taurus natives to introspect about their career, about their objective and their intention, as well as their efforts towards their career or the karma that they should perform towards the society. Actually, the righteous karma that they should perform towards the society. Remember not to just think about the gains and the outcome, but this Jupiter in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha transiting through the 10th house, being the 8th and the 11th lord, it is going to shift your perspective and your inner reality towards looking at things related to career, whereas you will shift your focus and your energy from focusing on the things which are not serving for your career and financial prosperity towards becoming more in alignment with what will serve for your highest good. With Rahu coming to the first house, being the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, this indicates major opportunities and doors are getting opened for you to finally get into the state of flow of energy, which will help you become prosperous and financially abundant as well as free. Saturn is already transiting to the 9th house. It is making your luck not so impactful during this time. So make sure that the energy of your career or your energy around your career and karma is now getting purified and healed during this time with this Jupiter coming to the nakshatra of Shatabhisha. And Rahu is coming to your ascendant, being the lord of the 10th house, the co-ruler. So it is a great time to heal all those things around your career matters for the beneficial future. Overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the sign of Aquarius, in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, in the sign of Taurus, as well as the dasha one is undergoing. For the Gemini ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 7th and the 10th house of your horoscope, and it will now be transiting through the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, which resides under the realm of Aquarius, that is the 9th house, whereas Rahu, being the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, is currently transiting through the 12th house of your horoscope. So this is certainly going to be a time period for the Gemini natives where you will be asked to work on improving and introspecting on your principles, morals, ethics, foundations about and philosophies about yourself and your perspective towards life in general. So there is a saying that your ethics and your perspective is what defines your life. And that is how this Jupiter's positive energy, hopeful energy in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha is going to work in setting up a strong foundation related to your career, anything related to your father, your relationship with him, your relationship with gurus, or your business partnerships, or even your marriage. Remember, for the Gemini natives, this transit of Jupiter is already extremely beneficial as it's transiting through the 9th house. So you are in that loop of energy of hope and optimism already. So make sure to make the best out of this transit of Jupiter in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, where you can heal past traumatic events, you can heal your perspective, you can get rid of the old limiting self-beliefs, and you can let the joy of hope, optimism, the ray of new fresh source of energy enter your life, your soul, your personality through this Jupiter's transit in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, as this Jupiter will also aspect your ascendant or moon sign. So this even more becomes intense and helpful for you. With the Rahu being the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the nakshatra ruler of Shatabhisha transiting through the 12th house, this is certainly a time period where you should do a lot of introspection, A lot of research work will take place. You will be learning a lot. You will be self-educating. You might even dream a lot during this time, and you will get many important learnings and messages through your dreams. And doing subconscious work during this time will prove to be helpful for all the Gemini natives. Overall results will be dependent on the dasha that one is undergoing currently, as well as the planets posited in the signs of Aquarius, in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, as well as in the sign of Taurus. For the Cancer ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 6th and the 9th house of your horoscope, and it is now be transiting through the 8th house, that is the sign of Aquarius, in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, whereas Rahu, being the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius as well as the lord of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, is transiting through the 11th house of your horoscope. So this is certainly going to be a time period where Cancer natives might receive an helpful advice from their fellow peers, colleagues, as well as people in the network circle, which will help them get rid of old unserving patterns around money, finances, their dreams, ambitions, health, or even related to their principles, morals, ethics, and their knowledge. So this is a great time for all of those Cancer natives who are into higher studies, who are doing PhD, masters, or those who are into healthcare field, medical field, healers, occult practitioners, yoga teachers. So this is certainly, or even for those who are into sector of IT and technology, scientific inventions. So Cancer natives should make sure that they are getting rid of the unserving patterns around their health and the patterns or the habits in their personality and life which are causing turbulence and troubles in their life, in like somewhat a chronic pattern that they have been carrying since a long time. So this can be the period where Cancer natives will finally be able to get rid of it. If at all they act with awareness, they think with all possible scenarios, and they will listen to the advice of their fellow peers as well as their elder brother or sister. So the overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the sign of Aquarius, in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, as well as in the sign of Taurus and the current Mahadasha and Antardasha one is undergoing. For the Leo ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 5th and the 8th house of your horoscope, and it will now be transiting through the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, which resides under the sign of Aquarius, that is the 7th house of your horoscope, whereas Rahu, being the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, is transiting through the 10th house of your horoscope. So this is certainly going to be a time period for Leo ascendant and moon sign natives where they will work upon healing old unserving patterns, limiting habits, beliefs around business, relationships, career, as well as familiar life, as well as creativity factor in their life. How much inspired and motivated do they feel in life? This is what you are going to be truly solely focused on during this time. So make sure that if you are looking for a better relationship, a better partner, compatible one, or prosperity in your career, your business, or alignment in your business or in your partnerships or your dealings with other people, then this is going to be a time when the benevolent and hopeful, optimistic energies of Jupiter are going to help you heal past wounds and traumas related to your career or your business, as well as the partnerships or your marriage, through you educating yourself. Because remember, Jupiter is the ruler of the 5th house as well, and 8th house deals with transformation. So make sure that the energy that you are carrying around in a loop, that is the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, the symbol of Shatabhisha, is now getting a breakthrough, and it is getting infused with the positive and hopeful, energized energies of Jupiter. Overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the sign of Aquarius, in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha especially, as well as in the sign of Taurus in your chart, and the current Antardasha and Mahadasha one is undergoing. For the Virgo ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 4th and the 7th house of your horoscope, and Jupiter will now be transiting through the 6th house, that is the sign of Aquarius, in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha. Whereas Rahu, being the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, is currently transiting through the 9th house of your horoscope. Hence, this is certainly going to be a time period for the Virgo ascendant and moon sign natives to heal from the past unserving, traumatic, self-limiting beliefs around their career, around their job, around their routine life. It is going to be a time when you will be introspecting about your routine life. You will be recognizing the unserving patterns around what is causing hindrance and troubles in your routine life and causing you trouble in remaining productive during day-to-day life. As well as when it comes to your health, then the knowledge that one will acquire during this time, especially the wisdom and not just the bookish knowledge, that is going to be helpful in healing your health, in helping you to get rid of unserving patterns around what is causing troubles in you remaining peaceful in life. So make sure that you are gaining that wisdom through people at the place of your work, or by consuming the right kind of knowledge from the right kind of people all over the globe. It can be via books, it can be via people on the internet, or it can be via your colleague, or it can be via your boss at the place of work, or it can be via your father or your mother. So make sure that you are remaining in the state of a sponge and you are not absorbing the negativity, but you are consciously working towards getting rid of the negativity, that is the hindrances in your life, that is the 6th house energies, and you are filling up that circle, that symbol of Shatbhisha Nakshatra, with the energies of Jupiter, which is all about hope, energy and optimism. Overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the sign of Aquarius in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha in your chart, as well as the planets in the sign of Taurus in your chart, and the current Mahadasha and Antardasha one is undergoing. For the Libra ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 3rd and the 6th house of your horoscope, and it will now be transiting through the sign of Aquarius in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, that is the 5th house of your horoscope. Whereas Rahu, being the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, it is transiting through the 8th house of your horoscope. So this is going to be a time period for the Libra natives where you can rejuvenate and revise on your knowledge, on the wisdom that you have gathered over the years, and how you can utilize or implement that knowledge, that spark of inspiration in your personality and life for the upcoming years in the future, and to have a greater and better, emotionally satisfying and fulfilling life. Libra natives can actually decode some of the hidden secrets about their own life, their patterns, their personality, and about the people in their life during this time, as the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha is in the 8th house. So this is going to be a great time to heal from the past old unserving and traumatic patterns which were causing chronic fatigue or hindrances in attaining your best possible growth in life. So this is going to be a great time to even learn something new during this time and break the chain of the energy that has been in a loop of that symbol of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, that is the circle, and rejuvenate it, refill it, infuse it with some new kind of knowledge, new source of energy, which will motivate you and recharge you. Because remember, 5th house is the original sign of Leo, which represents our heart. So this is going to be a soul-centric time period for Libra natives, where you can actually thrive again in life. You can rejuvenate your lost energy, that spark of inspiration in life. Overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the sign of Aquarius, especially in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha in your chart, as well as the sign of Taurus, and the current Mahadasha and Antardasha one is undergoing. For the Scorpio ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 2nd and the 5th house of your horoscope, and it will now be transiting through the sign of Aquarius in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, that is the 4th house of your horoscope. Whereas the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatbhisha, that is Rahu, is currently transiting through the 7th house of your horoscope. So this is certainly going to be a time period where the Scorpio natives will be able to finally heal and rejuvenate their energy around their home matters, their familial matters. Or there is a great scope of a new source of energy which is more inspired, hopeful, entering their mind, because 4th house is the original house of Cancer, which rules our mind as well as our family and home. So Scorpio natives will be asked to heal their traumatic, unserving, limiting self-beliefs and patterns in their personality and life around their 4th house related matters, and it can be achieved via you dealing with other people, people who are kind of foreign to you, people who are unknown to you, might give you the best kind of lesson, or you might be able to learn something really important while dealing with other people on day-to-day basis. So it is advised to the Scorpio natives to have their eyes wide open, to have an open mind during this time, and make that loop of energy that is filled with so many mixed energies of maybe hope, maybe optimism, maybe grief, or maybe sorrow. So there is this sense of energy around you that is surrounding you right now, with Jupiter coming into the sign of Aquarius in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, which will help you in unlocking and finally stepping into the Zen mode, which will make you end up feeling more at peace within your home or with your own self. This is a great time to heal your relationship with mother as well. You will become more creative, inventing during this time, because Jupiter rules the 5th house as well. And this is a great time to even do betterment and do introspection with your value system in the way you are dealing with matters related to money, savings, accumulation of wealth, family, relationships, education. Overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the signs of Taurus and Aquarius, and especially in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha in your chart, as well as the current dasha one is undergoing. For the Sagittarius ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 1st and the 4th house of your horoscope, and it is transiting through the 3rd house of your horoscope, that is the sign of Aquarius in the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, whereas Rahu, being the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatabhisha, it is currently transiting through the 6th house of your horoscope. So this is certainly going to be a time period where the Sagittarius natives will be asked to introspect about the life path that they are following, and the pleasure that they are attaining or trying to attain from the things that they do in their day-to-day life, or when they are within their home, within their own sanctuary. And how this will be done is through the knowledge, information that they acquire from the outside sources, or the day-to-day communication with their fellow peers, their friends, colleagues, or through their childhood friends and neighbors. This is going to be a time to heal your energy around your life pattern through the knowledge, through the information that you acquire. With Rahu being in the 6th house, this is making you more active, actually proactive towards taking steps in improving your day-to-day life. This is also a great time for Sagittarius natives to infuse that circle of the Shatbhisha Nakshatra, the symbol of the nakshatra, and the energy around it related to the 3rd house matters, and infuse it with more motivation, energy, and healing. Provide that much needed healing to the 3rd house matters in your life, to your life path, to your perspective towards life, because remember, Jupiter is also your ascendant lord, and that is why this transit is becoming so important for you. This time period will also make you very much inclined towards innovation, creativity. You might love to write down your thoughts, to read a lot of books on science fiction or philosophy, mythology, innovation, inventions. So just get into the flow of learning during this time, because the more information that you're going to gather, the more the symbol, the circle of the nakshatra of Shatbhisha is going to get refueled with rejuvenated energy, with new information, which is going to get you going in a long run. Overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the signs of Aquarius and Taurus in your chart, especially in the nakshatra of Shatbhisha, as well as the dasha one is currently undergoing. For the Capricorn ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 12th and the 3rd house of your horoscope, and it is transiting through the 2nd house of your horoscope in the nakshatra of Shatbhisha in the sign of Aquarius, whereas Rahu being the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatbhisha, it is currently transiting through the 5th house of your horoscope. So this is certainly going to be a time period for all the Capricorn natives to finally be able to make peace with their familial matters. If there would have been any conflicting situations, disagreements in your family, or any limiting self-beliefs, restrictions, boundaries that one has put around themselves related to their finances, savings, value system, food eating habits, if you want to get rid of any of these bad energies around these matters of life, then this is going to be a perfect time when you will put your creative intelligence into work, into action, which will help you finally make peace around the 2nd house matters in your life. So the one thing or the one advice that I would like to give to all the Capricorn natives is to try to remain hopeful, as much as optimistic and inspired or driven from inside during this time, because Rahu is that expansive or out of proportion source of energy which is transiting through the 5th house, which is also your heart, as 5th house is governs over the heart region of our body. So this is the time when you should try to get rid of the rigid patterns in your life, and especially for Capricorn natives, it is always better to heal from the rigidity, to make peace with unserving patterns, as Capricorn is prone to become rigid in some areas of life. So this is going to be a perfect time when you will become more creatively intelligent and you will put your energy around improving your speech, your savings, your familial relationships, the way you deal with other people, what you consider to be as your hoarded wealth or accumulated wealth in this lifetime. It can be anything. Remember, for some people it can be money, for some people it can be their values, their family, the things and the themes in life that they love, right? So overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the signs of Taurus, Aquarius in your chart, as well as the planets posited in the nakshatra of Shatbhisha especially, and the current dasha that one is undergoing. For the Aquarius Ascendant and Moon Sign natives, Jupiter rules the 11th and the 2nd house of your horoscope, and it will now be transiting through the 1st house of your horoscope. Whereas Rahu, being the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatbhisha, it is transiting through the 4th house of your horoscope. So for the Aquarius people, this is going to be a time when you are more likely to become either eccentric or positively active in portraying your views in front of other people, as Jupiter is now coming to your ascendant or your moon sign. You can either become extremely whimsical during this time, or you can heal your opinions, your life path through networking, through the values that you carry in life, as Jupiter rules the 2nd and the 11th house. So this is going to be a great time when Aquarius people will be working vigorously on improving their finances, their networking skills, their career. They will become more introspective and aware about their ambitions, goals, desires. If some desire has been there in your mind since long time, but you were not able to put in the right kind of work or action into it in order to get into that direction, then this is going to be a time period when you will finally break that chain of not being able to be in the loop of that energy, where you are constantly thriving, you are constantly improving, you are constantly getting better and moving ahead in life. So this is extremely important for Aquarius natives to make sure that with Rahu coming to the 4th house, you are working on the projects that are close to your heart, that have been in there in your mind since a very long time. And that is what is going to give you a sense of fulfillment of desires as well as peace of mind. Overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the sign of Aquarius, especially in the nakshatra of Shatbhisha in your chart if you have, as well as in the sign of Taurus in your chart, and the current Mahadasha and Antardasha that one is undergoing. For the Pisces Ascendant and Moon Sign natives, Jupiter rules the 1st and the 10th house of your horoscope, and it is transiting through the 12th house, that is the sign of Aquarius, in the nakshatra of Shatbhisha through your horoscope. Whereas Rahu, being the co-ruler of the sign of Aquarius and the ruler of the nakshatra of Shatbhisha, is transiting through the 3rd house of your horoscope. So this is certainly an important time period for all the Pisces natives, because Rahu is extremely strong in the 3rd house. It is making you take up challenges with more courage and ability to fight back. Whereas Jupiter, being your ascendant lord and the ruler of your career, that is the 10th house, your public image and status, authority, everything is getting redefined during this time. Pisces natives are redefining what makes them feel courageous in life. They are also improving on their skill sets, hobbies, creative talents during this time, as well as their communication and overall life path. Career aspect of life is definitely getting reshaped, rejuvenated, and if you have been feeling stuck, or you have been feeling like you have been stuck in a rut of a work and you are not enjoying the type of work, the kind of work that you have been putting into your career for the livelihood, then this is going to be a time period when you will be able to finally heal from those unserving patterns, habits, or you will get rid of the unserving patterns in your life related to career or your life path. So this is going to be a major time period for all the Pisces natives, and I would give an important advice to all of you to finally make that final decision of getting rid of whatever is not serving for your highest good. Let it be people, let it be the career, let it be the communication style or pattern that you have been carrying around for a long time. So this is a perfect time to heal from all of it and infuse that circle of that is represented by the nakshatra of Shatbhisha with more creative, easy flowing and hopeful energy, which will help you in succeed in the long term, as Jupiter is your ascendant lord as well. Overall results will be dependent on the planets posited in the sign of Aquarius, in the sign of Taurus, as well as the nakshatra of Shatabhisha and the current dasha that one is undergoing.